All right, we're talking about Airbnbs today, right? The hottest thing in investment real estate in quite some time, in my opinion, honestly. I want to start with this. There are a few different types of, well, there's a lot of different types of investments when it comes to real estate, right? You can buy and flip, right? So you purchase the property for a specific amount, knowing you're going to put X amount more into it to, revamp it, update it, repair some things, whatever it is. And then you're going to sell it, and that's going to incur some costs. Buying is going to incur some costs. All those costs included, knowing what you're probably going to sell it for 60, 90, 120 days down the road, you can see what profit you're likely going to make, right? And as long as you make a profit 8, 9 times out of 10, you're doing pretty good. You're doing pretty good. And that is something that a lot of people will do. It makes complete sense. And I'll tell you right now, we're at a point in the market where the question, and this kind of leads into, are Airbnbs a good idea, right? When you've got a market that is at a point where, is it going to go up? Is it going to go down? Is it going to plateau? What's it going to do? And not just for the next 6 months, but maybe the next 2 to 3 years, what's it going to do? And you don't know, right? I'm a professional. I do this all the time. I don't know. Go talk to 10 realtors, 10 lenders, and you're going to hear very differing opinions on what the next 6, 12, 24 months is going to look like, right? So should you stop going after flips? Well, anybody who's doing flipping is very confident. They're probably not watching this video. The people watching are people interested in the question of, do I do a flip or do I not do a flip for the first time? That's probably the 99% of people who'd be watching this video. And I would say this is a more challenging time to do it, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. You should do it with greater caution. You should know your numbers well. You should take worst case scenario into consideration and just run your numbers, right? But if you're looking at long-term buy and holds, which is a rental situation, or an Airbnb, which is really popular lately, the potential of a price reduction, right? A value reduction in the property itself. By the way, guys, if you have any questions, you're watching this on YouTube, Facebook, whatever, feel free to put your questions in the comments and I will address them before the video is over. But long-term, when you're purchasing a property, I did a video maybe 2-3 months ago, and I talked about people who are concerned about prices possibly reducing, which they may or may not, come down. If you bought at the worst point, right, the very peak of the market before the 2008 crisis, which from memory was like September of 06. That was kind of the peak of the housing market. And you kept the property for 10 years, you were considerably ahead on your equity, right? You were considerably ahead on your equity. Your price had gone up over those 10 years. Your equity obviously had been paid down because of your mortgage payments every single month. And so you were way ahead. And when you look at an investment over the long term, and remember too, we're also adding in the difference between what your monthly payment is and whatever you're going to rent it out for, right? So it's not just, hey, I paid $250 for it and now it's worth $300, and I owed $250 and now I only owe $220. But it's also the fact that all of those payments you're making every single month, you're paying X amount per month, but the person renting from you is paying $100, $200, $300, $400 more, making it a net profit to you every single month. Now, are you going to have repairs that pop up? Absolutely. And you need to look at that, average repairs per year, and calculate that into your figures. Do you need a little bit of cash in the bank just in case those repairs are front-loaded? Absolutely you do. But over the long haul, if you plan and you do this as a long-term game, not something you're going to do once or twice, but hey, maybe I'm going to get a property a year or a property every 2 years, and I'm going to do this 10, 15, 20 times. You're going to win 80, 90% of the time, and overall you're going to win, right? So looking at an Airbnb, first of all, the reason I brought all that up is if you're flipping, which is a short-term investment, price fluctuations in today's market matter to you. If you're investing long-term, it's not that it doesn't matter, but it matters a lot less, right? Because you're making money on paying down your equity over time. You're also making money on the difference between what you're taking in from a renter versus what you're paying out every single month. And then in addition to that, over the long term, yes, house prices might do this, just like stocks, right? But over the long term, stocks, bonds, housing prices, they go up. They just do. So over a 10, 15, 20-year span, it's a phenomenal investment that even at worst has gone up, which is great, right? So why go Airbnb versus a traditional rental, which is a phenomenal question, right? Airbnb is going to cost you money. To use your property as an Airbnb, there are certain hoops that you've got to jump through, which, listen, if you're getting to an investment property, you're going to have to jump through hoops anyway. You're either an executor, you're a doer, you're going to take action, or you're going to let a lot of things scare you, right? Which these things scare anybody, even doers and executors. It's, are you willing to overcome your fear by doing things, or are you going to let your fear overtake you and hold you back, right? That's the difference between investors and non-investors. If you're someone who's going to take that fear and set it aside and overcome it and move forward, then it's just looking at, would I rather do a rental or would I rather do Airbnb? Airbnb's got a few more hoops. Airbnb is also going to charge you fees, right? Airbnb is also traditionally, but not always, a more short-term rental, right? Maybe they're doing 3 days, 2 days, 1 day, a week, whatever it is. Whereas a typical rental is usually 12 months or maybe 6 months, something like that. You're going to have the opportunity to make more money on an Airbnb. Anytime it's a shorter term lease, the amount per day that you're making goes up on average, right? So that's a big plus. Airbnb does cost money. Here's one of the pluses of Airbnb over traditional rental. Airbnb is phenomenal when it comes to marketing, right? If I'm going to go outside of Florida, I'm going to go visit my friends and family in Minnesota, or I'm going to go to New York, or I'm going to go to California, or wherever it is I'm going, the first place I'm going to go to is Airbnb, because I know I'm going to have a lot of options. I'm going to have unique options. It's not just hotels, and hotels pop on there as well. So I'm kind of getting all the unique stuff plus the stuff I would get at a company like Expedia or Kayak or, you know, something like that, Travelocity. So for me, I'm attracted to it, and a lot of people are. And it's becoming more and more of a, I should say, stronger and stronger of a tool for those who are getting into Airbnbs, and it's making it stronger for the investor. Yes, you've got to pay a fee, but it's like anything else. You get what you pay for, right? You either pay the fee and you get amazing marketing and you get those higher rates per day, or you don't pay a fee, you get a 12-month lease, which is comfortable, but you're going to get less per day, right? But you're also going to save on the fees. So there's pluses and minuses to it. The last thing I want to bring up, if you're at all considering an Airbnb, is if you go purchase a property and you are going to rent it out for 6 months, 12 months, whatever it is, you're going to have a lot more options than if you're Airbnb. I can't even say that word. This is a verb. Airbnb-ing it with shorter terms, right? You're trying to do a weekend or a week or 2 weeks at a time, something like that. And the reason I say that is a lot of the places, especially here in South Florida, especially being close to the East Coast and having that ocean there, a lot of people are so attracted, investors are so attracted to those beachfront properties, those condos, because they're cheap, right? You can get a beachfront condo on Hutchinson Island right now, right on the ocean, for $500,000, $700,000. If you want a home on the ocean, I don't think I've seen one for under $1 million ever. Like, we're talking 7 figures every single time. So a condo is a lot cheaper. It's also nice because all the maintenance outside of the interior walls is taken care of by the HOA. That's attractive to an investor, right? However, a lot of the HOAs, because anytime you're in a condo, you're going to be in an HOA. A lot of the HOAs are not either going to allow for renting, or they will, but not for maybe a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is. So make sure you look at the HOA documents. And even if they do allow renting, they're only going to allow rentals for maybe a year minimum or 6 months minimum or 3 months minimum. So if you're trying to do these 1 week or weekend rentals with Airbnb, it's going to be challenging. Now, can you change the parameters on Airbnb to say, hey, you know, if the HOA only does 6 month rentals or 3 month rentals at a minimum, can I, you know, say on Airbnb, it's got to be at least 90 days or it's got to be at least 6 months? Absolutely you can, right? But anytime you have limitations like that, you're limiting the amount of people that are going to be attracted to that, which limits your per day income because of that, right? So yes, you're going to get a lot of people that want to get into a oceanfront condo. And yes, you've got the HOA to take care of a lot of exterior things for you. And you've got a lot of attraction to that. And it's cheaper than a house, but you're also going to be limited on how many days you have to have somebody in there to be able to do it. And you might have to have that thing for 1, 2, 3 years before you can actually rent it out, right? So one of the more attractive options that I have seen is a non-HOA smaller house, maybe 2 or 3 bedrooms, and it's within 5-6 minutes of the ocean. And especially right now up in Fort Pierce, Martin County is pretty expensive, but if you go up to Fort Pierce, you can find homes for very affordable prices. You can put maybe $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 into them and make them look mwah. And now you're close enough to the ocean that you can market ocean, right? Which is what everybody coming down to South Florida wants. You're getting those much more affordable Fort Pierce prices, and you don't have to deal with HOAs that limit the times that you can put in the Airbnb listing, right? Which is very important. So for me right now, especially in South Florida, those Fort Pierce houses that are close to the ocean, but far enough away to where you're not paying oceanfront prices, it's probably one of the best opportunities out there. Guys, if you've got any questions or if this is something you want to pursue, if you want to go do coffee and talk about, what are the pros and cons, is this something that would really fit me? I'd be more than happy to do this. I'm obsessed with this stuff. I love it. I got a passion for it. So I'm more than happy to help you in any way. But other than that, hope you guys have a great Friday and an even better weekend. You guys take care.